and welcome to our top games of June. I'm Stella from Meeple University and this is Tarrant. And I cannot believe this is July. What happened to the first half of the year, Tarrant?
Went like that.
Good thing it wasn't the Thanos thing. So we are once again, we are back. We are going to tell you a bit about what's going on with us, what other videos we're going to do. So we are going to do most anticipated Gen Con games of 2023 because I'm going to Gen Con.
Yes, I won't be. Once again, I'll be holding the fort back here at home, but Stella will be off enjoying the,
hot weather.
Enjoying Gen Con, but also working hard.
Yeah, I will be. Thank you for saying it right. And I would love to see you. I will be releasing more details where I will be maybe. I mean, you might not care where I will be, but if you come and say hello at Dice Tower, sometimes I will be there, hopefully. I will be giving you some more information in the other videos in our most anticipated Gen Con games. But back to these top games. We will be doing our top games and those games are new to us. So it could be, last time I did Ark Nova.
Last time Ark Nova was your top one, even though it had been out for probably 18 months. But yeah, these will be new releases, new-ish releases that were new to us this month, or prototypes that have come to us through some of our work.
Indeed.
As usual, this is just this is an opinion video. Everything qualifies. We have done paid work on some of these videos, but that does not factor into the decision.
Absolutely. And how you been doing? I've been busy taking my sisters everywhere in Melbourne because her and her 3 kids and her husband are aware of visiting Melbourne. And we went to Gold Coast, Queensland, Australia, which is a different state than Melbourne. And yeah, it's been all over the place, but very exciting. The 3 kids, I've been trying to get them into board games. They're probably not old enough. They didn't.
They didn't play much.
No, we didn't have enough time to do it because of the traveling and then playing Xbox. And tell us what games you've been excited about. What game you played new to you last month that is worth sharing. I'd like to know. I'd love to know. I've seen some comments in the previous videos like, oh, this game. Like, oh, sometimes I was like, oh yeah, I put that in my wish list. One day, hopefully, I'll get to play that. But please do write in the comments if you have a game that you like, wow, I gotta play that.
Indeed.
And without further ado, we will share our top 5 games.
Top 5 each, back and forward. And we'll see. I don't think we have that much overlap this time. Not as much as last month.
That's actually true.
So a more mixed bag today.
Let's do it.
So we're going to start with my number 5 game, and this is a prototype game that we did some work on called Pins and Beetles. And strictly speaking, we actually played this back in April, but we only just got confirmation that the rules were final. So
yeah. I mean, final as it's possibly can in this prototype version rules.
Yep. So I'm qualifying it for this month on that basis. Pins and Beetles. So this is a set collection game. It's got a very Ticket to Ride-y sort of feel in that a lot of the actions that are out there are just getting cards, and there's a couple of different ways of getting cards. But what makes this a little bit different to what I've seen in other places is instead of just getting a set and playing it as you do in Ticket to Ride, I mean, there is an element of that. You'll get a set and then you can play it and it lets you put a polyomino onto the board. But you can also gain a lot of points by building up a huge hand of big sets. So kind of early game, you're going in, grabbing all these cards, you get these huge sets. The bigger you go, the more points you get for that set, and you kind of stop other players from getting the majority points. But then you also want to get those cards played while there are still high scoring points on the grid, because you get double bonuses for getting in on the grid sooner, and the grid fills up. So it's kind of this interesting pacing game of get a big hand, get points, and then discard them and get your tiles on the table as quickly as possible. And I don't think I've seen a game quite like that.
That's actually true. This is quite interesting game in terms of it's, I don't know, just unique set collection, I guess.
Yeah, a lot of it is still, just hunting the deck to try to get the cards you want. But yeah, the way you play those, I've not seen it before, and it has this interesting little pacing to it. So that is Pins and Beetles, my number 5 for June.
From Light and Games. And if we have videos that are related to the games that we talk about, we'll try to link it. Some of those videos might be on Dice Tower channel, or some of them have not been released, but we will link it if it exists. Otherwise, it'll be coming soon. My number 5, Herd Mentality. This game is made of paper and felt.
Yes, it's got
it's so nice
it's got a
to
textural
touch.
experience here. On
Correct. But that's not the reason why I like this game. So Herd Mentality is a party game, plays 4+ players. And what I love about this is a party game where
There'll be questions which are put out there, and then everyone gives a response to it. And what you want to have the most common. You want to be part of the herd, you want to match, and you don't want to be left with a unique answer.
which lets you take the pink cow. The pink cow means that you can't win. So you have to you have to wait until other people get the pink cow so you can win. But anyways, the points usually doesn't really matter as much with party games like this. But what I like about it is that a topic could invoke 15 minutes, 1 hour long conversation.
Hopefully not an hour, but
Probably not an hour, but I remember at one of the games, the question is, which one is the best Star Wars movie? And people starting to debate after that. And that's it. That's the end of the game. Because no, it's this one. No, because this one. No, it's this one because of this. So it's very interesting, and it's kind of like, it's a great conversation starter game. It's a great icebreaker game at Meetup as well, and plays a lot of people. 4+. You basically can play what?
you could play
Many.
as many as you want. I think
Yes.
it plays 4 to anything.
Yeah,
so.
I did say 4+ players. So it's great for that. So Herd Mentality is my 5.
Okay, my number 4 game for the month of June is Shipwrights of the North Sea Redux. So this is the new, completely different to the original Shipwrights of the North Sea. This is essentially the replacement game for the original Shipwrights of the North Sea, because
Shem doesn't really like it looking back, I think.
Yeah, Shem Phillips has released a lot of games all through these medieval trilogies, and Shipwrights was the very first one he released, and he looks back on it and decided that it should be replaced with this completely different game.
Yeah.
So this is a simple drafting game, essentially. It is each round is a 6-card draft, and then you use the cards you've got to score as many points as you can. And you can just discard them to get resources. You can build up buildings, give yourself engine building with that. There's some worker placement actions you can create. And then ultimately, most of your points will come from building ships, which require a whole lot of resources. So many different things you can do. It's a pretty solitary experience once you've done the drafting. Think Hadrian's Wall, a one that was produced or published by
Garfield
Garfield.
Games.
So you get your resources early on, then you just kind of cash them in and do what you want. But there's some nice little flow here, a few different ways of playing. So yeah, Shipwrights of the North Sea Redux.
It's a great game, and it might appear later in my list. Who knows?
Who knows? You do.
My number 4 is Dungeons and Dragons Trial of Tempest. This might be the first Dungeons and Dragons board game that I play. It's not the first game that Henry, our friend, plays, because he was the one that played with me at one of the games. He told me this is a really great game. But this is my own opinion. And this is team versus team, or 1 versus 1, or 2 versus 2, and so on. And we are trying to collect 10 points. So the first team that collect 10 points could be from completing quests, collecting items, destroying particular things, collecting loots, and so on. That will trigger this big giant monster that you need to kill. Well, everyone can kill it, but essentially the team that triggers that needs to kill it to win. So at that point, other teams can still running around and then collecting points, and they still have a chance to win the game, because when the monster is killed, then each team will count how many points they have. So it's kind of like, then you would think, all right, we need to collect as many points as possible, or hold back to collect the points until we can get like a lot of points, because otherwise you probably get lagged behind when the monster comes out. You do get some points and some benefits when killing the monsters, but that just create like some strategy, just some fun around the boards, trying to stuff around the other team. I think that's just the fun on its own. So you can use different characters as well, and there's a bit of deck building in a way where you gain more cards, varies the cards each time you need to reshuffle your deck. And we will do our painting video as well for this one, so watch out for that.
My number 3 for the month is Next Station London. This is a Spiel des Jahres nominee for the year. I think we are, at the time of filming, only a week away from knowing how it fared. This is a little roll and write game where you're building train routes. I've always been a train map enthusiast, so something that really appeals to me. I guess what it does differently is that you've got 4 different train line colours, and in each round you're going to have a different coloured pencil, and you're going to be drawing a map, trying to make interchanges, trying to spread things out, trying to bring them together, all of those sorts of balances that you usually have to try to hit when you're playing a roll and write game. So it's a pretty quick play. There's nothing really new or unique other than the different colours of lines and the way that works. But it's good. It's a good, fun little game, very quick to pick up. And it gives, all those nice sorts of light decisions that you get out of a little roll and write.
And
Flip and write.
Flip and write, yeah. Matthew Johnson is the designer, which originally from Australia.
Yes.
He was overseas for a while, now he's back in Australia. Toss a coin to your witcher in the Valley of Plenty. The Valley of Plenty. I don't know. This is like, that song is really catchy. It's actually from The Witcher with Henry Cavill, which is now on season 3. First part of season 3 is out. I haven't even watched it yet. I'm that busy because my sister's coming. Anyways, The Witcher Old World is the board game, which has nothing to do with Henry Cavill's era. And you are also the Witcher, and you are competing to gain the most medals? Trophies. And you going around reading stories. And it's really fun. Deck building bit is my favorite. And the fighting mechanics is also, I love. It's one of my favorite fighting mechanics with this same deck of cards.
It's a clever little card comboing mechanism. So each of the cards has a colour. Some of them have a tab that then links to the next card of a different colour. And as long as you can keep linking up colour to colour, it lets you get all the icons that are on those cards and do big hits at once.
It's like, I'm usually a bit too gentle for fighting, but this is just very satisfying trying to combo one card from another. I mean, there's also the engine building part, which I love, increasing your stats, but just like a fun game. And the story is fun, and then there's just thematic things because I love The Witcher.
Yes. Yeah, every turn you get an exploration card. It gives you a little story, a choice between option A and B. It's actually the most similar game I've come across to like a modern version of Talisman, because it's very much, doesn't have that old roll to move style, but it's very much heading around, meeting random encounters. They all start to build you up, and then you've got to take a punt on when you're strong enough to go and chase the fights and the rewards.
Yeah, you can fight monsters or each other, and you get the rewards.
Yes.
And that is The Witcher Old World. Recommended.
My number 2 for the month is a prototype. We don't have a box for it. We do have a couple of components and cards, and this is a game called Adventure Party. And
Smoke and Dagger.
Yes. And I think the simplest way to describe this game is it's a mix between role-playing and wavelength. You'll be given a scenario from a role-playing type of scenario. You'll secretly roll a d20, which gives you a scale between complete failure and complete success.
Secretly?
Yes. You tell a story based on the scenario, which describes you having that level of success or failure, and then everyone else is trying to guess what number you rolled. So If it were a 10, if you roll a 10, you would tell a story that describes barely succeeding. If you get a 15, then it's a pretty moderate success. And it just gives you this flexibility to tell these isolated role play stories, which aren't part of a huge campaign. You can just make them self-contained, and I do find it a bit more fun not having to think about the next step of my role play. It's just kind of like I tell this fun little story, and then everyone takes a guess. So I think it's a really clever, different little party game idea.
I do quite enjoy it as well, and you can even change the rules if you want to. So
yeah, it very much fits into that party game style.
Family games as well.
You can basically have fun with it in whatever way you wish.
This is my number 2. Well, you've seen this before, what the game's about. What I love about it is that solo puzzle. It's so good. You need to maximize your board. Which card you play first matters a lot. And the reward is great. And it feels so satisfying when you build up your tableau and trying to gain or build that ship because it gives you the most points. Build that ship, you have just enough resources just to get the points. That's it. It's just very satisfying.
Yeah.
Sham's done well. Enough said, it's a great game. Our number 1 game is a shared one, Fable the Spirit Lands. This is by Crowd Games, and this game is going to be Gen Con release, so it's not available yet, and it will be going to retail, so everything's final here.
Yep.
It is a very intriguing, fun game. I can't stop thinking about it after I played it.
Yeah, it's got a very Century Spice Road, Century Golem sort of feel about it. And in fact, if you told me this was a 4th century game and it was themed to that, I wouldn't have been super surprised. You've got, like in the Century games, you've got 4 resources that you're leveling up through and resourcing up through. But rather than shooting for points, you're just trying to get the best resource. In this case, it's the red books, the Books of Sun. It's simply whoever has leveled all the resources up to that, to the most of those by the end of the game, is the winner. And through the game, there are a number of cards which have paths on them. And to put those cards on the board, you need to pay books that you've been building up. But it lets you put your sage meeples onto those spaces. And each turn, you pick a type of land space, a type of location space. There are 3 different types, from cheap through to expensive.
The prairies, the mountains, and the forests.
You move all of your pieces forward 2 spaces on those cards, and everyone else is forward 1 space. And then those cards have a number of locations within them which have special abilities, and that's where the centuries type of thing comes in, because you're getting these extra strong abilities, like it gives you lots of books, or it gives you these cheaper ways of doing the book upgrades, because you can also spend your actions doing a basic upgrade. So yeah, it's neat like that. There's a couple of interactive things where you've got to create paths. The paths could connect, and you want to try to break the paths that other players are on so that they don't get to keep moving forward.
Yes, and when you advance your sage, opponents also advance their sage. So that's the big twist, I reckon. So you want to be everywhere, but then you want to control, or you want to have the sage in one type of lands more than the others. So when you advance that type of lands, you advance more. Like you advance 2 and then your opponents would advance only 1, for example. And it just creates, okay, so what do I need to do here? Where do I need to place my sage? That probably is my favorite part of it, although the rest also great. You also have this ally card, and that's like a special power, like variable player power, that you gained even more towards the game, depending on the scenarios. It's got scenarios as well, and events. So you tie your strategy differently. You gain a cheap book, you can, but the reward's not that great. You want to try to connect the path so your sages keep going to the next one rather than get cut off. But opponents can just cut it off as well in the middle. So it's just really good. There's so many strategies you can do, and great artwork. I love the artwork for this one as well.
Very intricate.
Very intricate, yeah. And that is our top one game. The same. We finally have the shipwrights also.
I think we've shared number one a few times.
Oh,
this year.
really?
We do gravitate towards the same cream, I think. But
Yeah, the rules is not that complicated, so you can focus more on the strategy. So check it out. If you are going to Gen Con, please do check it out, and retail afterwards.
Yes.
So those are our top games. Again, please let us know if you have any comments, any questions. Let us know what your top game is. Hopefully you will see us at Gen Con most anticipated games video and see me at Gen Con. Tarrant will be holding the fort and we'll see you next time. And if you don't mind, please hit the like button. Every single like, views, and subscribe. Very, very helpful to us, and I really appreciate that. And hopefully you're doing something super fun today. And see you next time. Bye bye.